You see, nobody blows the relocation. They blow the lifestyle decision. People show up thinking Denver is sunshine, trails, an easy vibe that just works itself out. Mountains in the background, a beer in your hand, life on autopilot, the good way. The real Denver is way more layered than that. And if you don't get those layers right, Denver stops being fun pretty quickly. It's the difference between grabbing a coffee and walking your dog at sunrise in Old Town Arvada versus sitting in traffic wondering why one simple errand just ate up your whole morning. Denver isn't one lifestyle. It's like 5 different cities wearing the same hoodie. Same budget, same excitement, same Google searches, totally different day to day, depending on where you land. I've seen people move here fired up, then 6 months later they're asking why everything feels harder than they expected. Now, if you're looking at Denver for 2026, you're not late, you're not early, and you're definitely not crazy. The city has changed, the suburbs have changed. Half the advice people followed 5 years ago doesn't really work anymore. So copying someone else's move is the fastest way to mess up your own move. And once you see how Denver actually works, that question gets a lot easier to answer. I see this play out over and over again with people moving to Denver. I once worked with someone who was dead set on city living, walkable, lively, coffee shops on every corner. That was the vision, and on paper it made total sense. But once they slowed down and actually talked through their life, not their Pinterest board, things got pretty interesting. Early mornings, dog walks, work from home calls, grocery runs that somehow turned into full loop down Colfax. Weekends that weren't about going out from recovering from the week. The version of Denver they thought they wanted and the version that actually fit them were two completely different places. That's when it clicked for me. That was the line between theory and reality. Denver isn't sentimental. It pays attention to your routines. And once you realize that, the whole city starts to look different. Which brings us to the part that most people skip. It's the one thing that makes or breaks living here. See, this is the disconnect that keeps tripping people up. Denver's not one housing market that you just figure out. It's a lifestyle system that you choose. That system has lanes. If you end up with the wrong one, no amount of mountain views or breweries is gonna save your day to day. So I've watched this happen in real life. 2 buyers, same month, same budget, same excitement. One landed somewhere that made mornings feel calm, life felt efficient. The other picked a place that looked great online, it was really good on Zillow, but then it turned every errand into a project. They were way further out than they wanted to be. They were in the same city, but totally different quality of life. Now, one person starts their day hearing birds and joggers pass by. The other starts it by staring at brake lights and a coffee that's already gone cold. Now, nothing about that outcome is accidental. Denver's quietly become a polycentric city, which is just a clean way of saying there's no single center of gravity anymore. Life doesn't revolve around downtown Denver. It revolves around how you actually live. And the data backs that up with how people already feel. So walkable, amenity-heavy neighborhoods, they tend to cost a little bit more because they're trendy, but because they give you time back too. Now you got fewer car trips, shorter errand loops, more life packed into fewer hours. And that's why those areas tend to carry a lifestyle premium in the 15 to 25% range. On the flip side, you got space-first areas. They buy you predictability, bigger homes, easier parking, quieter nights, sometimes 30 to 50% more square footage, but that trade shows up in longer drives and more planning. Neither choice is wrong. You're just deciding whether convenience carries you through the week or space cushions you from it. Now, you can feel this contrast when you look at places like City Park or Platt Park versus areas like Arvada or Littleton or Highlands Ranch. One version of Denver rewards proximity, energy, and a tighter daily loop. The other rewards breathing room, consistency, and fewer surprises. People get into trouble when they shop Denver like it's one listed house instead of a menu of lifestyles. Denver doesn't reward vibes, it rewards decisions that match your real life. Now, morning traffic, dog walks, grocery runs, work days versus weekends, when those pieces line up, Denver clicks. When they don't, everything feels harder than it should. Now, if you're trying to figure out which version of Denver actually fits your life, this is where we step in. I'm your local Denver real estate advisor of choice. This is exactly what I do. Now, if you want real guidance instead of guessing, call, text, email me anytime. All my contact information is in the description below. So reach out, let's figure out the right version of Denver for you before you make a move that you have to live with. You see, this is where people get stuck because they keep asking the wrong questions. Now, city or suburbs? Which one is better? That question will mess you up fast. There is no better. There's only what you're trading for what city living gives. Gives you compression, life stacked tighter, shorter distances, more options packed into fewer blocks. Now you're closer to coffee, food, people, noise, energy. You can decide what you're doing tonight at 6 and be doing it by 6:30. But the trade is space, predictability, and sometimes patience. Smaller homes, more neighbors, less control over the quiet. Suburban living, you get life stretches out. You get bigger homes, you get easier parking, fewer surprises, your day is calmer, but also more planned. Errands take longer, nights are quieter, spontaneity costs a little bit more effort. You gain consistency, but you give up immediacy. And the numbers quietly back this up. On average, suburban homes around Denver are about 35 to 50% larger, while city neighborhoods command a premium because everything you need is closer together. Now, that's not a value judgment. That's just how trade works. Neither of those is a problem unless you choose the wrong one for how you actually live. Now, this is where assumptions blow things up, right? People assume city means chaos, suburbs means boring, right? Neither is really true anymore. So you walk through Low-High on a Tuesday morning and it's calm, more than people expect. You drive through suburban corridors at 5:30 and it's way busier than they planned for. The friction doesn't come from the place, it comes from the mismatch. Now, here's what that looks like day to day. In the city, mornings feel tight and efficient. Nights stay alive probably longer than you expect. In the suburbs, mornings are slower and quieter. Once that sun goes down, everything powers off quickly. Neither rhythm is wrong, right? But picking the wrong rhythm will wear on you. Now, here's a simple way to think about it. City living can reward people who value proximity, stimulation, and flexibility. Suburban living rewards people who value space, routine, control over their environment. For example, when my wife and I first moved here, we never thought we'd live in the suburbs. Now here we are living in the suburb because we have kids. It makes sense for us, right? And so I'm just curious for you, drop your vibe in the comments. Are you drawn more to the walkability and the energy and the space? Or do you want that quiet predictability? What's changed is really how, blurred the line became, right? The commute length matters less for some people while daily environment maybe matters more. That's why some people stay urban longer than expected and others move outward earlier than planned, like me and my wife did. It's not a swing in one direction. It's a reshuffle in your priorities. The real decision isn't city versus suburbs. It's how much friction you're willing to tolerate in exchange for what you value most. Now, noise versus quiet, time versus space, flexibility versus predictability. Once you see it that way, the choice gets a lot clearer. And that leads right into the next layer because once people choose their lane, they assume the market treats everyone the same. It doesn't. Denver's selective, and who actually wins in this market might surprise you. If this feels subtle, that's because it is, but it's also where people get burned. People get obsessed with timing in Denver, rates, headlines, waiting for the perfect moment to buy, right? Meanwhile, the decision that actually shapes their experience is happening quietly in the background, not when people buy, but it's where they land. Denver doesn't behave like one market anymore. It behaves more like a collection of micro markets, and they all react differently under pressure. Some neighborhoods stay steady regardless of rates, regardless of what's happening in the economy. Others feel the shift immediately. Now you see it in days on market, price adjustments, and how quickly demand either shows up or it disappears. You got the same metro, but completely different outcomes. I've watched buyers sit on the sidelines trying to nail that timing, only to jump in and later they compromise on location. They technically won the timing, they ended up frustrating with the daily life. At the same time, buyers who focused on neighborhood fit, that was their first priority, even when the market felt a little bit messy, they settled into a place that just worked for a much longer period after all that noise faded. Now, data really backs this pattern, right? You got the amenity-rich, walkable neighborhoods consistently moving faster. They hold better value throughout slowdowns. In Denver, lifestyle-driven areas often sell 20 to really 35% faster than the broader market. While more affordability-driven pockets swing harder when conditions change, inventory also lingers longer in the price-first areas, sometimes weeks longer. Even when the overall market looks stable, you could feel this difference without pulling a single chart. Areas like Cherry Creek, Central Park, they respond to shifts very differently than outer zones that rely primarily on price momentum. In one place, you're walking to dinner as the sun goes down. In another, you're planning your drive home before traffic stacks up and everything closes early. Scarcity and lifestyle insulate some neighborhoods. Others depend on affordability for staying favorable. That's why neighborhood identity has become the real separator. Access to trails, transit proximity, how errands feel on a random Tuesday, school patterns, how great the schools are, daily convenience. Buyers lock onto these factors emotionally and then justify the price after the fact. That's not irrational. It's how people actually choose places to live, right? Denver rewards people who recognize that this is how it should be. The ones who stop chasing headlines and start choosing environments that still make sense years down the road, then the timing fades and location compounds. You see, Denver's a completely different city depending on the hour of the day. And a lot of people don't realize that. They get locked into a lease or a mortgage, and then that's when they realize it. And neighborhoods here don't just have a vibe, they have a schedule. During the day, some areas feel calm, efficient, almost sleepy in a good way. Coffee shops humming, joggers out, dogs getting in their second walk. You can hear conversations, not traffic. Errands feel easy, life feels manageable. Then the sun drops and that same neighborhood flips. Restaurants fill up, street parking tightens, noise carries further, energy spikes. What felt peaceful at 10 a.m. feels busy at 8 p.m. Other neighborhoods do the complete opposite. You got mornings that start slow, streets are quiet, you hear the garage doors, not playlists. Evenings come and the volume never really rises. Things wind down early, lights go out, the calm stays consistent for better or worse. The shift isn't just anecdotal either. Research around walkability and mixed-use density shows that activity in some Denver neighborhoods nearly doubles after work hours, while others see most of their movement concentrated before 5 p.m. You got the same city, completely different daily rhythms. Now, you can feel that difference walking through Rhino, for example. Midday, it's artists, laptops, open space. After dark, it turns into lines, music, and movement. A few blocks over, other areas barely change all at once the sun goes down. So neither version is wrong, but pretending they're the same is where people get surprised. See, I've seen buyers fall in love with a place during a Saturday afternoon showing, then realize they never experienced it on the weeknight. Or they toured in the evening and they assumed that energy was pretty much constant, only to feel disconnected during the day. So Denver rewards people who understand rhythm, not just aesthetics. This matters even more now because work schedules aren't really uniform anymore. Let's be honest. Are you working remote, hybrid, full-time back at the office? You got midday breaks, evening calls. Your neighborhood has to support your hours, not someone else's idea of fun or peace, right? Denver doesn't just ask where you want to live. It asks when you want your neighborhood to show up for you. And once you start noticing how much day-to-night rhythm shapes your experience, it unlocks the next layer of this conversation. Because if some neighborhoods don't just change by the hour, they're being reshaped long-term. You got growth, redevelopment, future plans that are quietly rewriting parts of the city. And knowing where that's happening is the difference between landing early or showing up late. All right, quick reset here. Now this part matters more than the headlines people fixate on. People keep trying to label Denver's market like it's one temperature. It's hot, it's cold, it's cooling, it's rebounding. None of these words really work anymore. Denver isn't one market. It's a filter and it's getting pickier. Some homes move quickly, others sit forever. Some sellers get strong activity within days, others chase the market down with price cuts and they still don't get traction. Same week, same metro, totally different outcomes. That's not confusing, that's selectivity. Demand didn't just disappear here, it got smarter. Buyers aren't throwing offers at everything anymore. They're zeroing in on the homes that make sense for how they want to live and where they want to be. Neighborhood quality, layout, daily convenience, long-term usefulness, and those all matter now more than the glossy photos and aspirational pricing. You can see it in the numbers. In Denver, single-family homes tied to lifestyle anchors are still going pending like 20 to 35% faster than condo-heavy pockets that will actually sit for like 4 or 5 weeks longer before you see any serious movement, and you got to do a price reduction. That gap is playing out house by house, neighborhood by neighborhood. You feel it in specific places too. For example, homes around Central Park with functional layouts, access to parks still draw immediate interest. A few miles away, similar priced properties without that daily use, and the appeal can just sit quietly, even in the same interest rate environment. Selectivity is hyper-local now. You notice it the moment you walk into showings. The homes that hit, they just get this buzz immediately. The ones that don't, quiet rooms, fewer footsteps, a little awkward pause after the tour. See, selectivity has a sound. This is where sellers misread the moment. They assume that the market owes them momentum. It doesn't. Buyers are rewarding homes and locations that solve their real problem. Commutes, space, walkability, flexibility. The rest will get ignored until the price really reflects that reality. And I want to know, what are you seeing out there? Go ahead and drop a comment. Tell me, does this feel confusing right now with the prices, competition, timing? I read all of them. The biggest mistake people make is waiting for a headline to give them permission to act. By the time a market feels obvious again, the best options are already gone. In a selective market, clarity beats confidence. The people who win understand which homes the market is saying yes to and which ones it's quietly passing on. Denver isn't punishing buyers or sellers. It's testing alignment. And this is exactly why the people who move here fall in two very different camps. Go ahead and pause for a second, because this is where most people misunderstand what's actually going on. Let's talk about the stuff nobody puts in the listing description. The hidden costs of owning a home in Denver. And before that phrase scares you off, here's the twist. These costs don't punish informed homeowners. They reward them. Denver isn't a place where houses just sit there politely. The ground moves, the weather swings, seasons actually matter. Expansive clay soil is normal here, not an exception. That slow push and pull under your house isn't a defect, it's geography. Cracks don't mean collapse. They mean maintenance matters. Here's the part that most people miss. Most of the long-term costs in Denver aren't surprises, they're responsibilities. Moisture control, drainage, landscaping, irrigation. Ignore them and repairs get expensive real quickly. Stay ahead of them and the house behaves. Typical preventative care might run $300 to $1,200 a year. More likely, it's gonna be about $2,000 to $3,000 is what I've seen. Let it slide long enough though, and foundation repairs can jump well past $20,000. Same house, different outcome. Keep that grading right around your house. Don't let water go to it. You feel the difference walking in neighborhoods too. Places like Highlands Ranch, where soil disturbance from newer development is common, maintenance discipline matters early. Older areas with mature trees, settled lots tend to move differently, but they still demand attention. Homes built after the mid-2000s usually have better engineering. They still rely on owners who really need to do their part too, right? Newer doesn't mean it's immune to the issues on the outside. It means managed. And this isn't just about foundations. Roofs take more abuse with our sun and hail cycles. Landscaping isn't just about looks, it's structural protection. Snowmelt patterns matter, drainage directions matter. Denver quietly rewards homeowners who treat home ownership like stewardship, not just a purchase. So the upside, informed owners build resilience. They preserve value. They avoid panic repairs. And when it comes time to sell, buyers can tell the difference. A well-maintained Denver home feels solid. Doors close right, floors feel level. The house doesn't just fight you. This is why some people swear owning here is stressful, and others wonder what all the fuss is about. It's the same city, same climate, different level of awareness. Denver isn't hard on homeowners, it's honest with them. Now you pay attention and it pays you back. The difference is what separates homeowners who feel calm here from the ones who feel constantly behind. All right, before you decide if Denver's for you, this next piece matters more than pricing or timing. This is the part where honesty matters more than hype. Now, okay, here it is. Denver isn't for everyone, and that's okay. It's not a knock, it's clarity. Denver makes a ton of sense if you want more of an active outdoor anchored lifestyle. If it bleeds in your weekdays, even better, not just on your weekends, right? Being able to hit the trail before work, grab a solid coffee midday, still have options at night. If that sounds like your rhythm, the city tends to reward you, especially now when a growing share of Denver households are working hybrid or remote, prioritizing daily lifestyle over commute distance. That shift alone explains a lot of who's thriving here. Now, the city rewards a very specific type of lifestyle. It also works well for people who like choice. You got different neighborhoods, different speeds, different versions of busy and quiet. If you enjoy dialing in your environment instead of expecting a one-size-fits-all, you'll probably thrive here. Denver's a city where intentional people tend to do well. Now, you can feel that on a random weekday morning around Wash Park, where the mix of joggers, dog walkers, coffee runs tell you exactly who the city is really working for. Now, Denver works best for the people who choose intentionally, not passively. Now, if you're expecting Denver to feel cheap, sleepy, low effort, this might not be your moment. If unpredictability stresses you out, whether that's weather swings, growth, traffic, road construction, change in general, Denver can feel like a lot of friction instead of freedom. And if you're hoping the city will slow down for you, it ain't gonna. You have to move with it. It's also a place that rewards engagement. Home ownership here works best when you pay attention. Neighborhoods evolve, markets shift, seasons matter. If you want something static, predictable, and hands-off, pausing isn't failure, it's strategy. Now, the biggest wins I see come from people who choose Denver with eyes open. They understand the trade-off. They like the energy. They're okay with saying no to some things to get what matters most to them. Now, I'm curious, does this sound like you today, or maybe even 5 years from now? That question matters more than any headline. And once you answer it honestly, the final step is simple. You either move forward with clarity, or you wait without regret. Either way, knowing where you stand puts you ahead. And once you're honest about that, the final decision becomes a lot clearer. Here's the truth that most people miss about Denver. The biggest risk isn't buying too soon or too late. It's drifting without a plan while the city keeps moving. We broke down how Denver actually works, not how it's marketed, why neighborhood choice matters more than timing, and how day and night can completely change a place. Why this market isn't hot or cold, it's selective. And why the real costs of owning a home here don't punish the prepared people, they reward them. What I see go wrong isn't people making bold moves, it's people waiting for certainty that never really comes. Or copying someone else's path, just instead of choosing what actually fits your life. Denver doesn't need perfect timing. It needs clarity. Guessing and hesitating just leaves you reacting instead of deciding. If you're thinking about relocating, upsizing, downsizing, or just trying to figure out where you actually belong here, that's exactly what I do. I'm your local real estate advisor of choice, and I guide people like you through these decisions every week with zero pressure and real context. So all my information is here in the description. You can call, text, email me, shoot me a DM, let's start a conversation, however you want, whatever's most convenient for you. Let's keep that momentum going. The next step in the playlist, all right? The next video breaks down specific neighborhoods and living environments so you can narrow things down without guessing. All right, thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you on the next one.